Hi! So I just wanted to do a video about the energetics of food. The things you put into your body probably every day. Most people do it every day. Of course, I know in a lot of countries or probably most of the world these days, they're not first world countries like the United States, so, they most of the human race probably doesn't have as much food security in the United States, and then they probably don't watch YouTube, so they're probably not seeing this. But when I think it matters less when it's like subsistence eating, because I know in like third world or second world countries, it's probably the things they eat when they're not as calorie dense, and they're just eating what they can get. Like, I don't know, if they're out in nature and they find some edible uh, vegetables, like not like things we get at the store. If they are lucky enough to find fruit, it's not like what we get at the store. It's just whatever nature had at that time, and maybe it has some bruises on it or spots or was eaten by bugs or um I don't know. Like, I've eaten wild apples before, and they're not. They're definitely not like what you get at the store. Wild apples are pretty much the wild version of all plants is pretty different from what you get at the store. So that's true for fruits, vegetables, and I mean for vegetables, I like to eat organic greens, which you can get at the store, but I get them from just nature. Walk around my neighborhood. And English ivy leaves, they grow in a wood that's not too far from my house. So I see the English ivy leaves. English ivy or American ivy. I mean, I know they're kind of bitter, but it's like that's probably most of human history. They did kind of have to eat bitter stuff. So the energetics of food, very important for like this whole changing world, evolving what you need to, I guess, change about your life to like grow the light body and everything, to, I don't know, have a clear mind to study your other bodies. There are at least 10 bodies, if you didn't know, not just a physical body. So and when you eat higher vibrational food, when ethically sourced is a important term. So I guess like the meat and dairy industry, when I don't support it, I'm a vegan. It's pretty horrible the way these animals are kept, and what it's doing to the earth, and how it's not sustainable. But you know, ethically sourced is, I guess, if you have to eat like eggs or something, if you can't get that up. What I know a lot of people do is they just have a chicken coop in their backyard. They raise chickens on their own, and they don't like. They're not like a company where the company tries to like debeak them so they don't peck each other and keep them in as little space as possible, and probably not have a window so they never see the light of day. Uh, Feed them so much so their organs and bones can't keep up with all the weight they gain. Um, have them lay more eggs than any chicken would naturally ever do. Um, so yeah, that's, I guess, higher vibration, but I mean, again, the best food is directly from the sun, because that's all the energy on Earth. Because without the sun, there'd be nothing, no life. Um, And that energy goes to the plants, or they get 10% of the sun's energy. And the animals that eat the plants get 10% of that energy, but the animals that eat the animals get 10% of that energy. So, you want to be like a primary consumer, just eating the plants, or just eat the sun, sun gazing. So your body doesn't have to exert energy on digestion, because with all the varied extreme diversity Americans typically eat these days, with things that have over 20 ingredients in their list, or processed food, it'll take a lot of time for your body to digest when it has a bunch of ingredients. Just the food. I mean, fruit's good again, and when it came from a local source, if you've ever heard of a locavore, 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 I think I should probably start trying to be like that. It's people that make an effort to only eat things that came from within 100 miles of where they live. So that's why I guess, homemade is, I think homemade is always had a higher vibration than something that came from another state or across the country, or maybe a different country. Like Smucker's jelly, or I don't know, jellies that are, I don't know, name brand, or things that are processed in a factory. And so it's but homemade hummus, you just buy some garbanzo beans, cans of garbanzo beans, put them in a blender, put in whatever flavoring you want. So I think that would be higher vibrational, because I mean, you made it, you put your intention into it, and I think love is the most important ingredient. That's why I think the highest vibration energy, or maybe not the highest, but something that makes the food very high vibration is when it's made by a person who has good intentions for you, or that who you have a good relationship with. That's why mom's cooking is always tastes the best, because it's made by your mom, and who loves you more than your mom. And also when it's made by a friend, or I don't know, a neighbor, just someone who knows you, that you have face-to-face contact with every day. Obviously their food's gonna taste better, because I mean, you know them and they know you, and they're tending the food to be good for you. And also, I mean, we should know by now that plants, tomatoes, or, I don't know, zucchini, whatever, cucumbers, potatoes, peppers, anything, so it's higher vibration when it's grown by you. If you grew it in the garden, you did all the work of the weeding and helping it grow with if it was a tomato vine, you probably use some poles to so the plants grow up the pole, they have support. And I don't know, peas. So, and you've seen it grow from a seed to a harvest. So, you obviously, better. It's more of your energy, or I don't know, it's just higher vibrational energy than, I guess, stuff that was bought from a big company, because big companies are like, they're not always the nicest people. Like in Taiwan, the book I've been reading recently about Taiwan, they had a bunch of companies that were like trying to grow stuff in Taiwan, but then when they started making the environment so polluted that their businesses weren't really working, they went to outsource their business to like mainland China or Japan or Philippines, because they said like cheaper labor, and I don't know, just to get rid of the pollution. Like, so that's just leaving your mess back in Taiwan. You're not fixing anything, you're just, you know, there's a good documentary you can watch, The Corporation. It's just called The Corporation. It's kind of, yeah. So, big name brands aren't as good as, like, try to buy more, like, the smaller companies, because, I mean, if no one buys that smaller company stuff, then smaller companies never get to be big companies. Or, you know, with the big companies, it could just mean the difference between a private jet and having to fly first class the rest of your life for a while. And for smaller companies, it can mean the difference between, I don't know, being able to eat dinner for the rest of, I don't know, the week, or having security to know that you'll be able to, you know, eat or do feng shui or buy origami paper, or I don't know, be able to afford your cell phone. Vibrational energy of food, and I mean, also I think, like when I was at my last Reiki share, the woman who Reiki'd me, a Reiki master, told me she got a message from my grandfather who's passed away, and she said that he told me, or he tried to tell me, that he thinks I'm really good being in the higher chakras all the time, you know. Which is definitely true, because I guess the higher chakras has more to do with your, you know, psychic abilities or intuition, or I don't know, like complicated the things that take more effort, and like where you use brain power, like memory. I'm sure that's a higher chakra function, to have a really good memory. And he said he wants me to spend more time in the lower chakras, because, you know, that's why I don't have good balance, because lower chakras are your balance, and it's very important to have extremely strong root, because, like, my Tai Chi teacher says, like, if you don't have a very securely tied down balloon, then, I mean, it could, when you're flying, your balloon could just fly off, and then you're going. And so that related to be in the lower chakras. A yoga therapist told me I should start eating foods like beets or carrots or tubers, or things that spend time in the ground, like daikon rashes. So things that came from the ground, or probably like vegetables, because they are relatively on the ground. The carrots are on the ground, potatoes are on the ground, or in the ground, sweet potatoes. In like the English ivy I've some out that I eat, it's on the ground, it's pretty close to the ground, or like I started eating a lot of cauliflower then, because, I mean, just look at cauliflower when it's growing, the heads are on the ground. Like when they say Cabbage Patch Kids, like sort of think of that. Because that's in the ground. We're pretty close to the ground. Connected to the earth. And I'm sure that back in like the, I don't know, caveman days, the people who thought about the higher chakras more, or they just started to eat more like fruit, the things where you have to reach up for, things that grow in trees, or that are hanging, or that, you sometimes have to do complicated things to get it because, maybe you like use a long stick, or you throw something up at the tree to get it to drop its fruit, or you have to climb a ladder, or climb the tree. And like tamarind, that's a fruit where, it's sort of like a peanut where it has a shell and you have to take out the shell, and it has seeds inside, and it's kind of complicated to eat, or I don't know. So you gotta do work for it, because that's what higher targets are. Like, nothing worth having comes without effort. Also, I want to talk about the energetics of food. I also want to talk about. So he said, like, the person who made it, it's good when you have, like, face-to-face contact with them, and they know you. So when it's closer to its source in time and distance. Because I'm sure that's what humans first they did back in, I don't know, the era before the agricultural revolution. They ate what was right there in front of them. Like I go out and I see mushrooms on the ground. I just pick them up and eat them right there. Because, like the packaged mushrooms at a store, maybe they're safer, but honestly, I don't think they taste as good. Because, who knows where they came from, or the package probably says, but, it's just part of an ends to, or means to an end, a way to get money, and yeah. I like wild mushrooms better. I've done my research. Be careful with, wild mushrooms are, you gotta know what you're doing, definitely. But I think shamanism came about with, when humans discovered the hallucinogenic effects of certain mushrooms. There's a lot of evidence about that. With, like, Terence McKenna citing, I think the Amanita muscaria grows up in the Himalayas, and it was probably what caused Christmas, because like they leave the presents under the trees, which is where mushrooms grow, and I think Santa's hat, or like the colors are blue or red, which is like the mushroom. His hat is kind of shaped like a mushroom. There are stories about shamans in villages. They go from door to door with a sack of mushrooms, hallucinogenic mushrooms, and so Amanita muscaria and other hallucinogenic plants. And there are the kind that they don't cause good hallucinations like psilocybin. They cause like profuse sweating, and I don't know, could be nausea and apparitions. You see stuff. So those are pretty high vibration foods that I eat when I just see them outside in nature and I eat them right then and there. Oh, and also food that's like raw is better. Food that was more how like God intended or nature intended. Because I mean, when it's cooked, when we invented fire, kind of a long time after we started eating food, because people have always needed to eat food, but we haven't always had fire, or we haven't always needed to cook them. So like raw is better because I mean Kirlian photography, if you haven't heard of that, it's like so we know with Kirlian photography it takes the aura of an object in its picture. We've done it with food and we know that okay, like the day after food is picked from its source, it has a lot less energy going on in its aura. And especially if it's been moved to a pretty far place, like over 10 miles away. Um, oh, in Kirlian photography, we also know that, oh, what else do we know with Kirlian photography? Yeah, time and distance, and after it's been cooked, food has a lot less going on, because, I mean, there are live enzymes in food once it's alive. Because I guess it's good to eat live things than, I mean, the Cyrillic cannibalism, but, you know. So eating things when they're alive and not dead. Because your body's not a graveyard, because I think that's the reason people have bad teeth these days, or bad breath. Because they eat dead food, and naturally humans don't. So try to eat more raw food. Um, and always pay attention to how you feel, and also like when you reiki food that increases energy a lot. um you know, reiki food, and I mean, like, if you get some hummus out of freezer or like fridge, it's like store bought. I mean, it's gonna be more beneficial to you, I guess, when you add your own stuff and you do, I guess, rituals to like make it the way you want it to be. When the more effort you put into making it and assorting it with all the right stuff you want in it. So I mean, the energetics of food, people. It's definitely important to know what you're eating, especially I think if you eat something and you don't know what it is or you don't know what's in it, of course that's not good. That's You really shouldn't eat things that you don't know what they are. I mean, even if it's vegan, or I don't care if it's vegan or not vegan. If you don't know what it is, then you probably shouldn't eat it. Like processed food when they have a bunch of ingredients, but if one of the ingredients is something you've never heard of before, like palm oil or I don't know, xanthan gum, or I don't know, things that humans usually don't eat or haven't been eating for the first couple millennia of the human race, like those are things we're not supposed to eat, so just don't eat them. Because we don't know if they're really food, because I mean, all those preservatives are not really natural, and you know, food when it just sits, it's like, eh. So yeah, the energetics of food, definitely pay more attention to what you put into your body. Now, stay creative, stay curious, and stay awesome, and be the nature, the citizens of the earth, and not just a product of where you were born, like you should be. Citizens of the earth. We are all citizens of the earth.